So the Arizona Cardinals were ranked 19th according to Pro Football Focus in terms of wide receiving corps. My mistake there. The Arizona Cardinals were ranked 18th among all NFL wide receiving corps. And this is what Pro Football Focus had to say to that. Behind teams like the Colts, the Jaguars, the Cowboys, the Chiefs, the Commanders. The Cowboys seem a little low here, but damn. The Cardinals tied for 11th in Team Pro Football Focus receiving grade at 78.3. Trey McBride was a monster, posting the second best Pro Football Focus receiving grade at 89.8. Marvin Harrison Jr. started off slow in 2024, but the rookie campaign finished with a solid 77 receiving grade. Also, Michael Wilson, believer, plus James Conner. It's a very impressive backfield, but not impressive enough to be in the top 15 is what basically I'm reading. And here's what's interesting about the Marvin Harrison Jr. Arizona Cardinals receiving core issues. People tend to get really offended when you talk about Marvin Harrison Jr. in a certain way. Here's what worries me about Marvin Harrison Jr., his fans, and everyone that supports the Arizona Cardinals. And I think, to me, it goes like this. If you are a Marvin Harrison Jr. guy, and someone tells you they're skeptical of Marvin Harrison Jr., and you immediately go into name-calling, you don't know what you're talking about, freaking out, that worries me that you don't even believe what Marvin Harrison Jr. is. It's like when you're talking about Patrick Mahomes, right? If I told someone Patrick Mahomes sucks, they wouldn't argue with me. They'd say, okay, man, I think the same smell test happens with Marvin Harrison Jr. If I tell you Marvin Harrison Jr. had a disappointing-ish rookie campaign and you freak out on me, it tells me to believe that's a sore, sensitive subject to you. And so I'm going to keep on saying it. Marvin Harrison Jr. had a fine rookie season. He was good. I like Marvin Harrison Jr. Good player. However, guys, at the end of the day, he was the 4th overall pick in the draft. What Marvin Harrison Jr. did wasn't good enough. Now, there are other factors, extenuating circumstances, when it comes to Marvin Harrison Jr. You can talk about the fact that they weren't a pass-heavy offense. You can talk about that he was the second best receiver on his own team, given Trey McBride. But 885 yards, 8 touchdowns in 17 games played. And I know everyone loves to talk about, well, his dad had roughly the same rookie season. Well, they played 16 games back then. Cardinals played 17 games. Marvin Harrison Jr. having a campaign where it was 885 yards, I think the Marvin Harrison Jr. topic is really divided. I think some people think he's awesome and are waiting for him to be awesome. But what's truly fair about Marvin Harrison Jr. is that his rookie year underwhelmed a little bit. 885 yards and 8 touchdowns and all the other things around it is fine. However, he was drafted 4th overall. And to the people that say, well, blame Kyler Murray, Justin Jefferson is awesome with whatever quarterback he has. DeAndre Hopkins was awesome with whatever quarterback he has. Larry Fitzgerald was awesome with whatever quarterback he has. You cannot be so contingent on your worth given whatever quarterback you have. That's what second-tier wide receivers do. I mean, A.J. Green for years, his best quarterback was Andy Dalton, and he was awesome. So when you talk about Marvin Harrison Jr., I get it. He's a rookie, and he still might be awesome. But I think Cardinals fans have overrated his rookie season just a little bit. When you talk about the best wide receivers in that draft, you could make a top 4 list, and Marvin Harrison Jr. could be 4th, and everyone arguing for Marvin Harrison Jr. to be the lowest on that list would have a very compelling argument. You know, you talk about the wide receiver over the Chargers, whose name I can't remember at this point, but regardless, it's not important. But Brian Thomas Jr. and Malik Neighbors, guys, they just had better seasons than Marvin Harrison Jr. And Marvin Harrison Jr. was taken before both of those guys. I get Marvin Harrison Jr. has been in the gym. He's been a gym rat. People have been all about him in his sophomore season, saying that he's probably going to be awesome. And as a rookie, his season was fine. But he's always going to be tied to Brian Thomas Jr., Malik Neighbors, and Ladd McConkey, the receiver for the Chargers. I don't think you can talk about Marvin Harrison Jr. being the end-all, be-all, best wide receiver in that class until he shows it. So when I see Pro Football Focus rank the Arizona Cardinals the 18th best wide receiving core, to me it seems like Trey McBride is doing a lot of lifting there. Meaning Pro Football Focus doesn't respect Marvin Harrison Jr. that much. And to me, I would say, well, why would they? He had a fine rookie season. But Brian Thomas Jr. and Malik Neighbors were objectively better, and you can make an argument Ladd McConkey was just as good. I'm not into coddling players. I'm into the truth. And as someone last year who argued heavily that Joe Alt would be the better pick because I like bookend tackles on each side, Paris Johnson Jr., Joe Alt, instead of flashy wide receivers, I got mocked for it. I didn't hate the Marvin Harrison Jr. pick. I'm not going to act like I was anti-Marvin Harrison Jr. I made a lot of positive stuff for him. But positional value matters. And wide receiver isn't that important when it comes to positional value. Left tackle is. And when you take a wide receiver, number 4 overall, his expectations are through the roof. It's not the same as it is other wide receivers. Brian Thomas Jr., Malik Neighbors, well, maybe not Malik Neighbors, but Brian Thomas Jr. and Ladd McConkey's expectations were lower and they exceeded past them. Marvin Harrison Jr.'s was through the roof. And I'm not sure he touched the roof. 885 yards, 8 touchdowns is great. And you could blame Drew Petzing. I don't think you can blame Kyler Murray, given the fact that DeAndre Hopkins and Justin Jefferson and Larry Fitzgerald all had crappier quarterbacks throughout their careers and were still awesome. The expectation for someone you take for the 4th overall pick is Fitz, is Marvin, is Justin Jefferson, is DeAndre Hopkins. And I get it. Run first offense. My guy Brian Abdullah in the chat. I would agree with him. Some of that is on Petzing. But at the end of the day, if you are a number 1 wide receiver, you just have to make it happen. It's not me trying to pick or be a contrarian when it comes to the Marvin Harrison Jr. saga. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to be honest. I'm trying to give you guys a fair view of what Marvin Harrison Jr. is, because your expectations are through the roof. People are expecting him to go 1,400 yards and 12 touchdowns and a average catch of like 15 yards a catch. Can we, in 100 plus catches this year, can we pump the brakes just a little bit? It's not fair to have those expectations until Marvin Harrison Jr. is at least a 1,000-yard wide receiver. And this is not me saying that he sucks. That is nonsense. Marvin Harrison Jr. is a very good player in this league. But the 4th overall pick, if you redid the draft today, is he a top 10 pick? I think he still goes in the top 15 given his tools. But can we be honest? Or do you want me to wave the pom-poms? Do you want to call me a mouthpiece like people have called me before for the Phoenix Suns? Or do you want to be fair? Marv's rookie season was fine. And I think he's a little overrated when it comes to Cardinals fans. I just think he is. A little. This isn't me saying he is terrible, bad wide receiver. None of that. But it does feel like he's gotten a smidge, a touch overrated. Until he shows us he at least has the capabilities to be a 1,000-yard wide receiver. Pro Football Focus, I think, has it right for now. The Cardinals wide receiving core doesn't look great. But if Marvin Harrison Jr. is awesome, and I have full belief that he can be, this isn't a Marvin Harrison Jr. sucks video. This is a being honest Marvin Harrison Jr. video. If he can unlock this team, and he's a 1,250-yard wide receiver this year, and he's got double-digit touchdowns, and he's got 100-plus catches, you guys were all right. 100%. But what I will say is, for now, the rookie season points to me as probably a number 1 wide receiver, but not a top 15 wide receiver in the league. And when you take a guy that high, you expect him to be a top 15 guy in the league. We can't change our expectations just because you didn't like the outcome. And blame Kyler Murray. That's nonsense. All good wide receivers, all elite level wide receivers, doesn't matter who their quarterback is. They always figure out a way to get theirs. Fitz, DeAndre Hopkins, Justin Jefferson. I mean, guys, look around the league. I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown. I mean, no one thinks Jared Goff is amazing, but still, Amon-Ra St. Brown or that's just the standard. Or Jackson Smith and Jigba. His quarterback was Geno Smith last year. So, my point is, pump the brakes a little bit on the Marvin Harrison Jr. love fest until he shows us he can do it. Or the slander. Like I saw, listen, I love my guys over at PHNX Cardinals, Johnny and Bo, but they put out a show yesterday. It was MHJ slander, and that's what inspired this video. Was, people are slandering Marvin Harrison Jr. No, I think people are fair about Marvin Harrison Jr. right now. He is shown right now, might be the fourth best wide receiver in his own draft, behind Ladd McConkey, Malik Neighbors, and Brian Thomas Jr. And I'm just talking statistically. Ladd McConkey, you could definitely argue. The other two, you may not. And I was the same guy that was fighting tooth and nail with Giants fans and Jaguars fans that we got the best guy pre-NFL season last year. And he's got all the tools. And he's completely committed. However, we can only go as so far until we put pen to paper. And I like Marv. I think Marv's awesome. I hope he's amazing. I hope he's the next Larry Fitzgerald. I hope he surpasses Larry Fitzgerald. And he just might. However, we have to see it before we start calling him the next great thing, the next Larry Fitzgerald. I'm into being honest, guys. I'm into being honest.